Welcome into the Waterboys. I'm Shake and Bake here with Rayman and Divock. And guys, starting out this NFL season, we are 5 weeks in, and something has happened in the Big Apple that has pretty much baffled the entire NFL. The Jets and the Giants have switched game plans for the year. The Jets were expected to tank and try and get a QB. The Giants were expected to contend for a Super Bowl. But the Jets are on a 3-game win streak, and the Giants are 0-5. Divock.
Well, the Jets don't need a tank.
What was the bigger surprise?
The Jets don't need a tank for a QB. They already have one. His name is Downtown Josh McCown. The man.
The myth, the legend.
The man, the myth, the legend, DTJ McCown. What the deal is here is that the Giants, I think, were overhyped coming into the year. They weren't really that good last year. Whereas the Jets were I'm going to say undervalued because they were, but I mean, they'd be in the Browns and the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Dolphins. So, you know what? Like, good for the Jets. Like, they need this.
I disagree. I think it's worse because the Jets aren't going to continue this. And I think that they did beat up on arguably bad teams besides Jacksonville, who looks like a contender one game and not the next. I think the bigger surprise to me is the Giants. I think that the Giants were overhyped to some extent, but I do think that they had a lot more promise than obviously an 0-5 start is terrible. But none of their players have really lived up to the expectations set from last year. JPP and Olivier Vernon have 3.5 sacks through 5 games. Eli Apple looks horrendous, giving up multiple huge penalties that give teams a chance to come back. And, last year they went 8-3 in really close games. And obviously that's unsustainable, but I thought that at least they would win maybe 50% of those. They were supposed to contend for the NFC East. Now they're contending for the first pick.
So McAdoo, you think McAdoo is he a goner?
Macadont.
Mr. reading a play card like it's a Denny's menu.
My colleague of huge play sheets is most likely gone. I don't think it's necessarily fair because Jerry Reese is a horrible GM and his draft success has been horrendous. But I think McAdoo kind of gets the brunt because Reese has found people like OBJ, and
he's got good cereal though. I like Reese's Puffs.
I think
big fan Reese's Puffs cereal.
I think the Giants are definitely the bigger surprise as far as their record goes. The Jets were kind of set up to, be the team that everyone expected to score 50 on, and they've come out and played some pretty mediocre teams to start. But moreover, I just think that the way the Giants went through their offseason, just adding weapons and not trying to protect their almost 38-year-old quarterback was a mistake. Whereas the Jets were like, we're just going to strip the roster of all of our talented players and see what these rookie and veteran minimum contracts can get us as far as a quarterback for next year and for the future. And it's just kind of worked out as a bunch of scrappy guys who actually want to play in the NFL. And
they want to play. Don't underestimate people's desire to play football.
Desperation.
These guys are all fighting for jobs in the NFL. The career lifespan of a typical NFL player is what, 3-4 years?
3 years.
3 years. So these guys are fighting for money. They're fighting for their livelihoods. And
but
they weren't bad.
More on Macadont. I think he was a mistake from the beginning, especially firing Tom Coughlin, who you look at Jacksonville, while the Jags aren't great, he's still got them going in a good direction all of a sudden, brought some continuity to a shitty franchise. But I just think that the Giants are going to hang on to Macadon because they just don't fire people. The Mars just don't fire people. And the only coaches are there for a while, and they'll hang on to Eli, and they'll keep not drafting linebackers and offensive linemen or crappy offensive linemen. and they'll kind of be stuck in their own New York Jets mediocrity stage, just like the Jets have been in for years.
I think the biggest sign that McAdoo is not the coach for them is that the Giants continuously have Eli continuously been beaten up, and he refused to change the game plan to at least have like the tight ends help. He had no one helping their offensive line. He's like, yeah, they're just going to have to deal with it. And after basically 2 years of this experiment with Eric Flowers being garbage, and
God, he sucks.
He's terrible. He's god awful.
Mm.
You should be picking flowers in my backyard instead of
I don't think he could do that. He's pretty much inept at any physical aptitude test or anything physical at all. But their offense,
you can work out by picking flowers out of my backyard. You know, my mom needs some help.
All right.
Shake a bake. You live with your mom?
I mean, not now, but my mom could still use some help. Eric Flowers could be the 6'6", 300-pound man living in my room for no reason, just helping my mom around the house. Like that's a solid job. He couldn't protect her, but he could help around the house.
Well, I feel like your mom is probably a wanted woman. She might need protection. She's probably fending off attackers all the time.
Eric Flowers wouldn't be the guy to do that.
It'd be more like she could do a better job of protecting herself than Eric Flowers could, because he has no idea what protection means. Which means does he get a? I bet Eric Flowers has a lot of illegitimate children too. No idea what protection is.
Sean Kemp levels of having prolific children.
I mean, he's like mini Cromartie, but I mean not quite. I mean, Cromartie's different. Okay. Speaking of, is Cromartie still the Jets? By the way.
No.
I thought I saw Cromartie. He's not on the Jets anymore.
Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie is on the Giants, who are 0-5, as we've been talking about.
Okay.
So
that's one of
Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
That's one of Antonio's kids, though, right? Dominique Rodgers?
No, cousin.
Oh, they're not. It's his cousin? I thought it was his kid.
He started having kids when he was like 9. I think they're only I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, about saying Antonio Cromartie's a fertile son of a bitch.
Like all jokes aside, like we joke about 9, but he probably started having kids when he's like 11 or 12. Like,
yeah,
probably. Like it's Cromartie. Like the future NFL is just gonna be a bunch of Cromartie babies versus a bunch of Phillip Rivers babies, just all playing against each other. It's gonna be great
to see those kids play against each other.
Yeah, just a bunch of Phil Rivers throwing the ball over and making stupid faces while the Cromarties all like pick off passes and make more and more babies. The future NFL is just going to be just like 32 teams worth of Cromarties and Rivers. Just like, oh my God.
That's exciting.
Explosion.
I wonder if any of them became like backup quarterbacks, would they wear a bolo tie on the sideline?
Have to.
This is funny. This is funny. So when I Google Antonio Cromartie, one of the questions that people also ask is how many kids does Travis Henry have? That's one of the first things that comes to. Is that what? It's so funny that's one of the first things that comes to.
They all have enough to fill out the Jets roster and have them playing just as well as they are right now. Their kids, Travis Henry, Phillip Rivers, and Antonio Cromartie's combined second-generation talent could get the Jets to 3-2 like they are right now.
Yeah.
Here's even better. The question right under it: how many children does Scott Skiles have? How did Scott Skiles get into the people also asking?
Wow, Scott Skiles on the down low.
Scott Skiles is getting recruited to play left guard for the New York Giants because he knows how to play defense well enough to pass protect.
That's fair.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Kids, by the way. I won't tell you you're wrong. I would never tell. I only tell Rain Man he's wrong.
Well,
that's true.
Goes without saying.
Me and Shake and Bake agree, and Rain Man is usually wrong about things.
Get out.
But at least you have your large Ben McAdoo scorecard full of 3-point stats.
I do.
You do.
Anti-Dallas Cowboys wins.
And anti-Kobe ramblings.
They're 2-3. The Cowboys are 2. You know what? All right. You know what? My anti-Kobe ramblings are based on fact, not this wishful. I'm not even anti-Kobe. Shut up.
Well, what is a fact is that the New York Jets, despite their best efforts to tank, have a better record than the New York Giants, who are supposed to be a Super Bowl contender this year. and the Big Apple has been
And
flipped on its head.
As Chris Boomer Berman would say, and that's why they play the games.
And that's why they play the game. And we'll keep talking about both the Jets and the Giants and their attempt to fight over the number 1 pick coming up this year. But keep tuning into the Waterboys for more talk about the NFL, NBA, MLB, and college sports as well. Keep tuning in. Thanks for listening.